Worrying transfer talk for Spurs fans as one of Europe's powerhouse clubs have leaked interest in Tottenham's most creative player and could bid big to bring him to Serie A. Meanwhile, more defensive and attacking names are reportedly on Spurs' list for this January window, and Marcus Rashford is attracting a lot of interest from Premier League clubs, including one from South London. I'll be discussing all this and more on today's episode of Daily Premier League Transfer News. Guys, thank you so much for all your support so far. Please do give this video a like on YouTube and press subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. I'm getting closer and closer to that 15,000 subscriber mark. So if you like daily Premier League transfer news, always starting of course with my beloved Tottenham Hotspur, then please do press that subscribe button and you can become a member. Only £1 a month really helps me make this daily content for you. All the details of how are in the description box below. But let's get started. And those reports that Milan over in Italy, depending on whether you're Italian or not, but I like to say Milan because I liked Gazzetta Football Italia with James Richardson back in the day. But Milan and Milan, the same club, are interested in bringing Decky Kulusevski back to Serie A and potentially even this January, according to some reports. Milan apparently been long-term admirers of the Swedish international who's having his best season by far in the Premier League for Tottenham and have made him their number one target this winter. And here comes the kicker if you're a Spurs fan like me. Zlatan Ibrahimovic is the sporting director of Milan, and he has apparently already had a personal chat with Kulusevski to try and convince him to move to Italy. Now, what do I think about this? Well, firstly, I think that Decky Kulusevski is fast becoming a £100 million footballer. Let me know what you think in the comments, but do you think Kulusevski is worth about £100 million now? I really do think he is, because of his versatility, because of his ability on the ball, because of his powerhouse nature, his finishing, his assists, but also I think more than anything, and this is where Zlatan is quite relevant, Kulusevski's mentality and how much he wants to be one of the best players in the world and is just really consistent in talking to the press and anyone who'll listen that is his goal. I think that's why he is worth about £100 million now. And do I think that Milan have the funds to spend £100 million on Dejan Kulusevski? I have to say I do not. I do not think that is likely. And realistically, if I think Kulusevski is a £100 million player, then what does that mean Daniel Levy would accept as an amount of money for him? I've been saying it for a while now, since Kulusevski's been on this amazing form and has been Tottenham's best player this season. Daniel Levy needs to start doing what he was doing in Pochettino's years, when we had those young players coming up all together, the likes of Dele Alli, Harry Kane, Christian Erikson coming through. What Daniel Levy was good at, one of the rare things I can say that Daniel Levy was really good at, was he would sign them up to new contracts, giving them raises all the time. And Kulusevski needs a new contract now. That's what I would say, to ward off this kind of leak from a big Italian club. We need to make sure that Kulusevski doesn't run his contract down and end up going on a free. So for me, if I'm Daniel Levy, I'm talking to Kulusevski's agents. I'm saying, what does he want? Give it to him, because he is at the moment the future of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, especially as one of the very few players who hasn't got injured this season so far. He's talked about himself. He says he doesn't get tired. He's got endless lung ability, hasn't he, Kulusevski? And once we get all our best players back around him, I think he might even go on and improve even more this season. So for me, the issue is, look, do I think Milan would love to get Kulusevski back in Serie A? Yeah, I do. But do I think they have the money, even with Zlatan Ibrahimovic's ability to persuade Kulusevski that Milan could be the right place for him? Do I think they have the money to get Dejan Kulusevski to Serie A, to Milan? I really don't. I think Levy would want an absolute premium to let go of that player. So it seems unlikely to me, but I don't like, as a Spurs fan, I don't like the leaks that are coming out of Italy. Okay, next rumour, Spurs are competing for the signing of Paris SaintGermain forward Randal Kolo Muani. Muani is on the list this window, and a few clubs have been sniffing around him. He's been made available for transfer, and Tottenham are keen on his signature. That is one that I think Tottenham would be looking for a kind of loan deal, wouldn't they? They'd be looking at a loan for the rest of the season with potentially an option to buy, to see whether he's the kind of forward who could do well in the Premier League. Again, versatile, so an option to play across the forward line, which is what Tottenham are looking for. So I guess it's a possibility, but you've got to think, at Paris SaintGermain, he'll be on ridiculous wages. And one thing that Tottenham are not able to do, or are unwilling to do under Daniel Levy, is pay ridiculous wages, which, frankly, ridiculous is a strong word, but do I think Tottenham need to be paying 300 grand a week for players? I actually don't. I don't think we need to be doing that. But considering we did have Hugo Lloris and Harry Kane and Tanguy Ndombele, to name just three who were on 200 grand a week, and none of them are currently at the club, I think Spurs could be improving their wage structure a little bit to get players in this January and moving forward to the summer. Another player that Spurs are being linked with is the Ajax player Davine Rensch. The club have asked Ajax what kind of terms would be needed to sign the right back who has a year remaining on his current contract. No surprise there for me. Tottenham with Johan Lange will be sniffing around all those players who have 6 months to a year left on their contract and looking to get them in on a cheaper deal. So that makes sense. We're not blessed with a lot of defensive cover. Obviously, we've got Jed Spence who can cover right back and left back, but we are looking around at other potential fullbacks this January. And that brings me on to the next rumour as well, one that's been on the list for a long time at Tottenham. Apparently they're upping the ante and making a move for Patrick Doru in the coming weeks. That is a potential transfer deal to watch, according to sources in France, because Destiny Udogie, of course, is on the treatment table and his estimated return date is 6 to 10 weeks. So Ange Postecoglou needs to bolster his left-back options. Serie A club Lecce, where Doru plays, they're in a strong negotiating position when it comes to that, because they know Tottenham need someone. Doru's a Danish international and he's a key part of the Lecce squad and has been incredibly versatile. He's featured in all the positions, both fullbacks positions in Lecce's backline, but also on both flanks, and that is why he is interesting Spurs so much. But a number of other clubs around Europe are interested in him as well, and he apparently, according to the leaks coming out, is potentially interested in a new challenge. But whether that will be at Tottenham or not remains to be seen. One other potential deal that I like the look of is Crystal Palace left-back Tyrick Mitchell only has 6 months left on his deal, and apparently Crystal Palace could look to cash in on him this January if they can get some money through the door to reinvest. I would look at him if I was Spurs. I really like the look of him. He's a very good defender, really works hard. Obviously, he hasn't had to play that inverted fullback role yet, so it's hard to see yet whether that's something that would suit him. But some people have mentioned on social media about Spurs, should they be interested in Ben Chilwell? Well, for me, I would go for Mitchell over Chilwell, just based on the fact that Chilwell will be on huge wages. Obviously, he's already had his big move to a large club at Chelsea. Will he be motivated to come to a club like Spurs after Chelsea? I don't know. And also, Maresca obviously said very early on when he came into Chelsea that he didn't think Ben Chilwell could play that inverted fullback role. So they're the reasons why I would look at Mitchell over Ben Chilwell. But let me know, Spurs fans, what you think in the comments. Would you be interested in taking either of those players? And what do you think of Doru as well? Meanwhile, Spurs also reportedly keen on signing 24-year-old Lyon midfielder Maxence Caqueret, who is also interested in Crystal Palace, Everton and West Ham. Lyon under some pressure to sell players in order to raise funds this January. Obviously, the crisis-struck League One club are going through financial difficulties, and I think they've also they're looking at a potential ban and relegation, aren't they, Lyon? So Spurs could look to take advantage. That is something that obviously Daniel Levy loves to do, and he will have been telling Scott Munn and Johan Lange, make bids for players at clubs who need to sell. You can get them for cheaper. The 24-year-old midfielder could definitely go this January, so that's why Tottenham are interested. Tottenham also willing to compete with Crystal Palace and Newcastle for 19-year-old Barcelona player Vitor Roque. According to a report in Spain, he is the subject of interest from those clubs, and of course Tottenham and Palace looking for versatile attackers, and that's why they're looking at the 19-year-old. He has had 6 goals and 2 assists in 23 appearances for Real Betis on loan this season, and that is why Premier League clubs are interested in him. I mean, in terms of that, he's a 19-year-old, clearly a talent, doing okay at Real Betis, where Spurs have done business before. So they'll have scouts there all the time because of Johnny Cardoso, who they've got first dibs on, of course. So that would make sense. But yeah, 19-year-old forward. Maybe that would make sense in terms of Tottenham looking to bolster their forward line with versatile players who can come in and add legs to it. But who knows? Let me know what you think in the comments. Is that the kind of player you'd like to see at Spurs? Alistair Gold, Tottenham's foremost kind of important journalist for Football.London, he says that he expects Fabio Parat to be very involved in Tottenham's recruitment this summer. He's been attending all the recent games at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and Gold has pointed out that even after leaving his managing director role, of course he had to leave because he was banned from football, the former Juventus director has continued to assist Tottenham in the transfer market. Parat played crucial roles in the acquisition of Maddison and Vicario, and also recommended both Brennan Johnson and Radu Dragusin to the club. Alistair Gold thinks that because of Paratici's vast contacts list and his relationships within the game, that he could well be very involved this January. How do you feel morally about Paratici's kind of consultancy at Spurs? He was banned from the game for irregularities, fraud, basically, but since then has still been on Daniel Levy's, most phoned list. Do you think that's a benefit for Spurs? I think overall Paratici has done well in terms of the players that he's helped get into Spurs, but there's a bit of an optics issue in terms of a man who has been done for fraud when it comes to getting players into football clubs, still consulting. But look, if he can bring in good players, and frankly Tottenham need bodies through the door, then I guess it can only benefit them. Guys, before I go on to some more wide-ranging Premier League transfer news, once again, please do give this video a like if you haven't already. Please do press subscribe for daily Premier League transfer news. As ever, always starting with my beloved Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Can Spurs improve? Currently slipping down the table in 11th, but probably should be about 14th with the form they're on, and something needs to change soon. But whether it will or not seems unlikely, with Newcastle, who are in amazing form and up to 5th place, coming to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium this Saturday lunchtime at 12:30. Okay, other Premier League transfer rumours, and as ever, the talk coming from Old Trafford is loud. Since Ruben Amorim has gone in there, the rumours kind of swirl. Lots of rumours saying that they cannot afford to bring players in because of profit and sustainability rules issues. And let's face it, if you've read into any of the stuff that's been going on at Manchester United in terms of their accounts, some of it is absolutely laughable. The amount that Manchester United put in their accounts for the COVID situation was like over £100 million more than any other club asked to get subtracted from their accountancy numbers. And there's definitely been some Chelsea-esque fiddling of the books when it comes to that stuff. So some reports say that Man United can't afford to spend any money this January, but other reports say that in fact, and this is the Daily Mirror saying it, they will try and sign Swedish striker Victor Gyökeres from Sporting Lisbon this month. 26 years old, obviously absolutely ripped it up under Ruben Amorim at Sporting Lisbon. He's had an amazing season, including for the international team, where both himself and Deki Kulusevski and Alexander Isak have formed a really potent partnership in that forward third for Sweden. And apparently United could be looking to spend £80 million on Victor Gyökeres, but where they're going to get that money, I do not know. One way they might be able to are the rumours that Christian Erikson, Victor Lindelof and Casemiro could all leave Manchester United this January. And if they don't leave this January, then definitely in the summer window. This report says that the club must sell players in order to bring in new ones, and Casemiro and those other two players remain available in case of any good proposals. But for me, the likelihood of good proposals coming in for those players is so small, because they're both Erikson and Casemiro are in their 30s. Lindelof isn't a spring chicken either, and Casemiro's on absolutely monster wages for Manchester United, probably up towards £300,000 a week. Erikson is flattering to deceive at the moment, but one thing, and I keep saying it about Christian Erikson, it frustrates me so much, his entire career at Manchester United for me has not been that good, because they've consistently played him in a central midfield role rather than in his best position, which is as a number 10. He is a pure number 10, Christian Erikson. Like, he's a genius. And people say he's lost his legs now. He was never quick anyway. He was able to get around the pitch. He's got a good engine. But you've got to play him in the number 10 role. But because Manchester United have had Bruno Fernandes throughout the entirety of Christian Erikson's career at Old Trafford, they've never really played him in the 10, and that is wasted. He is wasted. He's not a central midfielder. He's not a 6. He's not an 8. He is a pure 10. And as a really huge fan of Erikson from his Spurs days, I'm gutted for him. And I hope that he gets one more move somewhere where they play him in his actual favoured position. Meanwhile, over at Liverpool, more reports coming about Trent Alexander-Arnold's situation. As I mentioned yesterday, Liverpool fans up in arms that Real Madrid have been bold enough to bid for Trent Alexander-Arnold this January. Whereas the way I look at it is it's really good of Real Madrid to say, here, take some money this January, 25, 30 million pounds, and you can reinvest that for a player that we're clearly going to get in the summer anyway. But reports today from Spain say that Real Madrid remain on track to sign Trent in the summer on a free transfer, with the 26-year-old looking to leave Liverpool. One thing I've really noticed on social media and news reports, actually, is that the press and social media and the fans are really trying to put the pressure on Trent Alexander-Arnold in a similar way that they did with Steven Gerrard back in the day, many years ago, when he was at Liverpool, but Jose Mourinho was at Chelsea. And even when Jose Mourinho moved to Real Madrid as well, he looked to get Steven Gerrard out of Liverpool. And every time it happened, every time the rumours were there, all the local press in Liverpool and all the people, all the fans, and now on social media, it's even more difficult, putting pressure on Steven Gerrard back in the day and now on Trent Alexander-Arnold not to leave Liverpool, saying that he won't be deemed to be a legend. He won't be appreciated as a player if he dared to leave Liverpool on a free transfer. In the same way, I guess, that Stephen McManaman is not seen as a legend, in the same way that Jamie Carragher and Steven Gerrard are, and the way that Michael Owen is not deemed to be a legend by Liverpool fans because he went to Real Madrid. For me, it's completely ridiculous. It shows an entitlement from Liverpool fans that almost no other club's fans have, where they're just like, if you dare to leave Liverpool, you are not respected in the same way. It's completely mad. The La Liga club Real Madrid, they want Trent Alexander-Arnold to sign a pre-contract agreement this January, and apparently Liverpool's resolve to keep Alexander-Arnold for the rest of this season will be tested by another bid from Real Madrid towards the end of this transfer window. So interesting. Let me know what you think in the comments, guys. If you were a Liverpool fan, and if you are a Liverpool fan, do you want to take money from Real Madrid this January for Trent Alexander-Arnold to reinvest in the team, or do you want to let him go on for the rest of his contract and then go on a free to Real Madrid in the summer? Potentially more bad news for Liverpool. Barcelona sporting director Deco is desperate to get Colombian winger Luis Diaz into the Nou Camp, and apparently the 27-year-old is unhappy that talks have not started with Liverpool over an improved contract at Anfield. Luis Diaz, who went to Liverpool when they gazumped Tottenham for his signature a few years ago, and he is a great player, I have to say. Really impressive player, Luis Diaz. But as ever, same with Real Madrid. When one of the two huge clubs in world football, Barcelona or Real Madrid, comes sniffing around, it doesn't matter whether you're at Liverpool, it doesn't matter if you're at Man United, it doesn't matter where you are. Those players are interested. And if Luis Diaz is starting to leak that he's unhappy that contract talks haven't opened at Anfield, then that's probably because he likes the sound of a potential move to Barcelona. And with Virgil van Dijk and Mo Salah's contracts running out this summer as well, even though the club, from all the reports coming out of Liverpool, expect them to sign extensions, imagine if all of those players left Liverpool at once. They're having an amazing season under Arne Slot this year. He has definitely confounded my expectations. I expected them to have a struggle following Jurgen Klopp's legacy there. But Arne Slot's done a brilliant job stepping in there. But if they were to lose 3 or 4 of those players this summer, that could be very, very difficult for Liverpool to replace them, because they wouldn't be getting transfer money for a lot of those players. Meanwhile, over to South London, Arsenal apparently leading the race to sign Eintracht Frankfurt's Egyptian forward Omar Mamouche. He's 25 years old. He's been on Spurs' list before, but Liverpool, Paris SaintGermain and AC Milan now also interested in him. Also, as I mentioned at the top, and this doesn't surprise me at all. In fact, I said it a few weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago, when Marcus Rashford's potential exit from Old Trafford was starting to look more and more likely. I said it wouldn't surprise me if the South Londoners, Woolwich Arsenal, were interested in buying him. However, one thing I would say, if I was Arteta and Arsenal fans at the moment, I'd be wondering about getting burnt again in the same way that they seem to have been burnt with the signing of Raheem Sterling. That hasn't really worked out for them, has it? And although Rashford is only 27, so much younger than Sterling, 3 or 4 years younger, I would look at him and say, is he a bit of a busted flush in terms of his motivation? Has he been earning too much money? Has he got too much abuse from people? Frankly, for me, Marcus Rashford has received so much abuse unnecessarily down the years. He basically got abused for being a really brilliant moral person and helping kids out during the lockdown and stuff like that. Lots of people saying that he should concentrate on playing football rather than being a morally good person. I don't agree with that whatsoever. I think Rashford is a great player. But for me, I think Marcus Rashford needs to go somewhere where he's the number one, where he's the main man, where all the football goes through him. And I don't think that would happen at Woolwich Arsenal necessarily. So if I were him, I'd be thinking about that and what options. There were reports coming out yesterday that Rashford has held discussions with a new agent to try and engineer a move away from Old Trafford, but he actually came out on Instagram and said that that was not true whatsoever. So Rashford fighting back. He wants to move away from Manchester United. I think it's fair to say that Ineos and the club want him to go. They don't want to be paying his wages, but it's a difficult situation because he is on over 300 grand a week. No club in Britain, I don't think, is going to be paying that to take him off their hands. I guess maybe only Chelsea if they were interested, but no reports of that. So United are going to have to pay half of his wages or maybe even more to get him somewhere. Personally, as a Spurs fan, I would be tempted to take him for the rest of this season and see if we could get him motivated under Big Ange Postecoglou. Get Ange to say to him, you're the main man, all the football's going to come through you. And get him on that left-hand side, cutting in and bending them into the top corner, allowing Sonny to rest a little bit more and kind of switch between the two of them. Rashford also can play a little bit of a 9 role as well, although it's not his perfect position by any means. Anyway, that has been today's daily Premier League transfer news, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please do give this video a like if you haven't already. I want to get it seen by as many people as possible. Also, if you like daily Premier League transfer news and also always starting with the news from Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, please do give this channel a subscribe and I'll be bringing you that daily content both here and on the audio platforms, be that Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Just type in the Spurred On podcast there and give me a subscribe or a follow and enjoy the rest of your Thursday, guys, as we get closer to more Premier League games at the weekend. Cheers.